Lisa, is this Q&A or is this?
So I'd like to hear back from the two tables, and then we'll go ahead and take Q&A.
Okay.
So if you guys can share a little bit, and Bianca will help facilitate this segment.
I just wanted to, it starts with a thank you to Lisa, and it relates to what we're going to talk about here, is she said that yesterday to press into what you're uncomfortable with.
Yes.
You know? And that really ministered to me, sister. And then Torley said, you know, that the American church, I don't know about generalizations, but I'm sure it's generally true. The American church is controlled by fear. Okay, so, you know, we were counseled someone, I think you counseled us not to, or counseled us, or somebody with the etiquette counseled us to not use big generalizations like that, to talk about our own experience. And still, it's easier for me to talk about, I've seen in the last couple of days, to talk about uncomfortableness rather than talk about fear. Because they might be the same thing, but for me, now I'm just watching over the last couple of days. Where am I uncomfortable? You know, it doesn't absolutely mean that, okay, you should go straight into what you're uncomfortable, but at least an awareness of it, where you're uncomfortable. You know, with who, what's the situation, what is that about, you know? And for me, it's helpful because it's another part of what we're doing is, or what's ministering to me is, ignorance, what was the word we had used yesterday? We're not aware, I'm not aware of everything I'm not aware of. You know, and so to have, to just grab onto uncomfortableness as a way of finding things that I'm not aware of has been helpful to me.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah. Anything else that came up in your table discussion? I mean, we can, as we are like around a smaller group, we can build that into like the Q&A later as well. But do you guys want to share something that you discussed or that was part?
We just kind of meandered aimlessly around the subject. We did touch on several issues. One is the tension between trying to have sort of a big solve all problems kind of mentality versus let me just befriend someone, you know, the small versus the great, starting small versus going big. As you get big, it gets bureaucratic of necessity and how that can kind of bog you down. We had a discussion around clarifying what we mean by indigenous leaders, a little definitional discussion there, and a concluding, very helpful reminder that probably references ministries that aren't necessarily in the urban setting coming in. They need to figure out who those indigenous leaders are and really respect them and listen and partner and not come in as though they have all the answers.
And like using them as an entry point and then letting them go, that was like something that really stuck into my mind when you shared, like, you know, kind of, are we using the indigenous leaders for our own sake to get to where we think we need to, who we need to reach, or are we really able to build real partnerships? And what does it mean to build real partnerships? And I mean, as we go into discussions now, I mean, perhaps like this is a, like, I'm kind of asking like the first question because that was something I'm struggling with a lot, and it kind of what we have talked about. What does it mean from your perspective to build like real partnerships with other churches? Kind of like, what do you understand with real partnership? Because we talk about a lot about partnerships and serving better together, but I always think like I look at partnerships out of my perspective in the sense, okay, like I want a partnership because I want to do this and this and this, but what is the other side? What are the people who are really in the urban centers and doing, like, are there day by day and feel the pain of the people and struggle with injustice every day? Like what is their need for partnership? And perhaps if you like could answer this, and then anyone else feels free to ask questions.
I had the same question, so I'm wondering if I can just blend it together. Basically the same question, but I'm wondering if you could give us concrete examples of best partnerships you've had and worst partnerships you've had, and obviously not naming names on the worst, but I think that would help us to get a sense of because everybody here wants to partner, and so it'd be great to be yeah, these people were great, but these people were terrible, and we'd be oh, I think I would love to hear those stories.
Anyone go.
I guess I can start. Sure. You're a pastor too, so you.
So for me,
You share and I'll share.
the best partnership will be like this past Sunday afternoon, I had a group of mission committee folk to come to my church and sit there and listen to the testimony of the people. They don't support us, we don't, but just coming in and sitting and listening to these folk. We have 3 persons that they just listen to, and I think it can make an impact on their lives. That's one good partnership I'll see. The second one was when we drove 50 miles to a church for baptism, and we asked the church, we don't want to use your pool, we want you to be there. So we'll come and baptize our folk at your church, and we can celebrate together because there's joy in heaven. And that joy needs to be shared by the people of God right here on earth. So I would say that those to me are the best possible partnership. The worst one I may just mention would be we had a situation where we started to do some work that all of a sudden got to be very popular to the point where there was a foundation that wanted to put some money into it, and immediately everybody came and, oh, we want to help you, and before we could know it, we've had community garden for 10 years in the city. Refugees from different places coming to plant their own crop and stuff, but once it started to get some attention and media and stuff, and this foundation wanted to put $750,000 into the project, we got, everybody from everywhere came, we love refugees. And at the end of the day, they kicked us out of the plot that we had. And there was not one refugee person got a job, and that was it. And so once there's money, there'll be a lot of people coming, and a lot of these people are not really interested in the refugee, but they want to use the refugee story as a way of getting funding. So that's the worst one.
So we could relate to that because when you think of the urban community, you think of low income, and so people, the same thing. They, we're going to come in. We're in a community that's the poorest in the state. And for us to say that it's the poorest in the state really isn't nothing compared to a third world country. But, $7,000 annually doesn't go far in the United States. And so a perfect concrete partnership with a church would be that, if you start a negotiation, obviously a partnership is mutually beneficial. The difference for us in a partnership is that we don't have a financial return on investment, but we can sure educate your people. We can sure give your people practical experiences on how to serve in the community and to begin to develop a relationship within the community that would be longer term, not just a come and go, but it'd be a longer term, and perhaps maybe through that, some of your folks may feel led to move to the community, and then also to engage your people in our community as a follow-up to educate our people on business, micro business, micro enterprise, social enterprise, and to bring what you have been so able to develop in your education and your skills and giftings, to bring those expertise to our community and share that with our people. So we're creating environments where our people can learn and be educated in a setting where partnership can come in and bring those experiences at free cost, free education, and then to see some sustainability financially from maybe perhaps their missions budget. So now their mission field is not just thinking about the globe, but now how are we going to help the mission field in our backyard? Truly, a lot of urban pastors are urban missionaries. That's what we do. We raise our own money. We don't have, I'm the only one on staff. I don't have a staff. And I don't have people that are educated coming out of college with church leadership degrees, business degrees, volunteer degrees, all these degrees you get in ministry. So I'm raising up leaders in my church and teaching them what's been mentored to me and what I've put myself through to encourage education, to encourage next steps for them as well. And so a partnership working together that way works out really good. That would be a good partnership. A bad partnership is, for example, this. We experienced a ministry come, a nonprofit faith-based, who wanted to partner with our ministry. They heard about this big Christmas store we do every year. So they said, we're on board this year, so how can we help? So we got them engaged. We got them through the whole process. They helped out with gifts. They helped out with volunteers. And we matched our volunteers from our church, within our church body, up with their volunteers as shopping guides for the people in the community. And the next year came and they decided to bypass us and go on and do their own outreach and go on and do that. They wanted us to partner with them, so they flipped the table on us. And we said, that's not really how it works. And in fact, good luck on, trying to accomplish this. Well, their event ended up being a flop, and they had no support, no one from the community. And so that would be a bad scenario.
Thank you. So unfortunately, time runs by. I don't know why this is happening. So I have perhaps another question for the panel. Anyone? Yes, Vince.
I have a huge question. Is it okay since we don't have much time?
Yeah, well, you can post the question and then we have a break and then
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Well, we've been talking a lot at this conference about how to engage with, the nations coming to our cities. And I think whether, implicitly or explicitly, we've been mainly talking about that from a white immigrant relational standpoint. And so, which is fine, but I was just curious because I'm in an African-American community, right? And so I just wanted to see if you guys had any thoughts about what does it look like for African-American churches in our cities to engage with the increasingly diverse cities and immigrant churches, because obviously there's a lot, the dynamics between African-Americans and recent immigrants is a lot different and has its own issues. So just what kind of tips do you have about how to do that?
So I go to a black church, small black church on the east side of Denver, and our pastor doesn't try to do it all, which is a cool thing. That's great. And what we do within the church is, if you see it, you do it, and make it work. If it doesn't work, it's kind of that old grassroots training. Get out there, jump in and try it. And if it doesn't work, try something else. And so my husband and I work with the youth in there, and so we have totally engaged with the whole youth and young adult community, and we come from that perspective of working through the community. So we're with them, we're hanging out with them, we're bringing them into the church, I'm picking them up from church and for church, and we didn't get permission. We just kind of saw the need and met the need. And the pastor loves it too, and that's been really cool because it has become like the one thing that the elders of our church pray for, our youth, and have supported. Just because we just met a need that needed to be met, they couldn't do it. They weren't called to do it. We were called to do it, so we did it. And it's been we've been really blessed by that. And that's one way. And that now is including some of our foreign students, more of the immigrants coming from other countries, and they're just hanging in there. Hanging with us. And we're trying to figure that piece out because it's mainly for us with the Black community. But as far as all of our new students coming, we're just saying, hey, come and join us and we'll try to figure this out together.
Is that what your question was about?
Thank,
Sort of, yeah. I mean, because you're talking about the foreign students and everything.
Yeah, but what I thought you were asking was how do you get the Black African-American church to reach out to immigrants coming in from what otherwise would be considered unreached people groups?
I hate to be like the killjoy.
That's your
Been a
job.
great timekeeper.
That's your job.
No, it's kind of always stick with me. No. So just, we have like a break, 5 minutes, and please continue the conversation and really take advantage of our great presenters. And I really want to like say thank you again, like especially to Tolly and Leslie, who just made it from the East Coast, and they just made it to this meeting, and I'm so grateful, and I think we should give them a big hand.
Way to go, man.